Good evening. Welcome to DecodedSeries.com. This is our special series called Decoded Biblical Series. And in this particular series, I'm going to narrate the entire book of the Decoded Biblical Series. And this is a correlation between the Bible and known history. Starting with the Old Testament Decoded, chapter 1. The first chapter in the Bible is Genesis, and regardless of which version or translation you read, the story remains consistent. Some people will suggest the modern Bibles should be discarded in favour of the old texts. However, it is the modern version of the Bible in use today and is the influence behind the thinking of many individuals. Religion and belief systems have evolved and continues to evolve, and so too has the Bible, from the transition of ancient text to modern literature. Please sit back and allow me to present some interesting, sticky and fresh thoughts. In this first part of the series, I am only concerned with the Old Testament, since this contains the seed of our idea of God. The concept or seed of God from the biblical scripts is the basis of the myriad of franchises, including New Age, of belief systems. The contents of the Bible are not the only sacred writings compiled in antiquity. Many scriptures were excluded from the Bible in both the Old and New Testaments. These alternate accounts of biblical history are touched upon in this series and raise many questions. All works included and excluded from the Bible are from unknown authors. In this first part of the series, I will expose a biblical fraud staged in Exodus from the writings within the Bible, so please take note of the evidence as the story unfolds. Additionally, in this series, I will uncover influences from antiquity which are still around today. The first influence to appear is in Genesis and the birth of politics and religion. You will observe from the biblical text there are two creation stories. Place these two creation stories against ancient history and a correlation begins to unfold, identifying them as the beginning of two systems, politics and religion. This comparison unravels with the story. The biblical creation. The creation story is one which has been handed down through many generations and cultures. According to the Bible, existence as we know it started around 6,000 years ago. This theory contradicts evidence of life existing for millions of years. Some say the 7 days of creation represent a longer period of time. For example, 1 day equaled 1,000 years, or 1 million years. Therefore, the 7 days of creation really means 7,000 or million years. Unfortunately, that still falls short of the 13 billion years calculated by scientists as the commencement of the universe. Science has studied our existence for a long time, and by their calculations, the universe commenced around 13.6 billion years ago. Life on Earth started around 3,500 million years ago. A mythological script written around 2,500 years ago by unknown authors, obviously lacking appropriate equipment and knowledge, cannot and does not validate its claim of Earth's real existence. That's an interesting start, isn't it?
It is, it is. It's always been the thorn in the side of the religious peoples, where they claim the world is 6,000 years old, and it's obviously much, much older.
Yes. But why is it the religious people are so adamant that the Bible is correct, that humanity and the world has only really been around for 6,000 years? What is it?
Because the Bible tells them to be. Because
Right.
the Bible says you have to believe this, and if you don't believe it, bad things will happen.
Right.
So it's part of their belief system. They can't.
So it's more or less like a fear component, isn't it?
To throw that into doubt throws the whole book into doubt, and that's not something they're prepared to do.
Correct. And people worship their God. And the Bible the Bible is actually very simple. God says he created the universe and earth and humanity. And really that's as simple as what it is. And yet people are adamant that this is correct.
Yeah.
I mean, you or I could easily go out and sit down and write a book and say, I created the universe and the earth, and you are created in my image. So will that mean like 6,000 years in the future somebody will actually believe that I created the earth?
It's not so silly.
It's basically
Yeah,
what
yeah.
it's saying.
Yep.
Someone sat down and wrote this, and now there's millions of people out there that will absolutely argue that this is correct. Now, I don't see any other alternative that scientists would have to turn around and say this is wrong. I mean, they go in and actually scientifically have proven that the Earth and the universe is much older, that the universe is 13.6 billion years old, and they say that number is even increasing. Of course, there's a few variations as to how old the universe is, but I think the main peak here is about 13.6 billion years. There's no agenda from the scientists. They don't worship anybody.
That's right. Yeah, the default position of science is I don't know, so let's try and work it out.
Exactly. So science is an ever-evolving study. It's an institute that continually tries to improve upon what they have already learnt, what they've already studied. They never turn around really conclusively and say, this is it.
No.
I mean, even as far as the universe, they're saying 13.6 billion. I mean, years ago it was 13.5 billion, but now their equipment's improved even more so, and they can see the actual formation, of the explosion that occurred back in that particular time. Of course, there's another debate on this altogether, and that's whether life of some sort may have existed before the Big Bang, simply because a bang cannot occur unless something was existing. So it may not have been an intelligent life form as we know it today, or a chemical makeup of the planets as we know it today, but something must have existed in order for a bang to happen in the first place.
Probably an infinite number of Big Bangs that have happened. Well, happened isn't quite the right word, but have occurred.
It could have been could have been going on forever. And of course, we have captured time and kept time into our formula. But once you go out into the universe, of course, time is another thing altogether, isn't it?
If you're external to the Big Bang, time sort of seems to have come into existence with the Big Bang, which is a very strange thought.
Right.
But anyway.
But also time has been, is virtually for us to be able to manage, engage, and be able to document what's happening around us. So this is actually a very interesting start to the book, and the book will actually gain a lot of momentum. This is the very basic information, which a lot of people already do know, but there's a lot of information in the Decoded Biblical series which a lot of people will not be aware of, and there will be quite a startling factor involved. So thank you for joining us for this first part. Join us now for part 2.